All right. So we are here. Daryl, Dixon, episode two. Um, again, the first episode, I thought it was a really great introduction to, the Book of Carol, if you will. So diving into another episode is something that I was, again, looking forward to. Um, I feel like a lot of people had their opinions on this episode, whether if it was better than the first episode or what, I don't know. But me personally, I thought it was fun. Anytime we see these two characters, I enjoy myself. But yeah. Anyways, hello, welcome on BIZZYBRON. We do these little chats every week. I am here with Mombi over here, who is also someone who's going to be joining us every week to talk about this show, and we plan on doing this even with the other shows in the future, whether it's Dead City, whatever you want to call it. I'm really looking forward to just doing this all on this channel because I love it. But for now, I'm just excited to talk about the episode little by little. You just watched the episode, so it's fresh into your head, right?
Literally just watched it.
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting to kind of have you sum it up too. So it's going to be interesting, but I don't know. What is your? I kind of want to start off with how do you feel about it compared to the first episode? Do you feel like it was kind of picking up the pace? Do you think it slowed down a little bit? Where do you stand?
I mean, I think it picked up the pace. I feel like we really kind of got thrown into something going on with Daryl's group in the nest.
Hmm.
And of course, we opened up with Ash and Carol, landing the plane. And that was where we left off from the last episode. So I thought that it picked up and it was pretty high energy. I think that we saw a lot of things that we weren't expecting to see. But during my um, course of that 60 minutes watching that episode, I feel like the episode was a little predictable, which is really strange because usually I don't know what's going to happen, but I felt like everywhere I turned, I was like, oh, this is about to happen. Oh, this is about to happen. I think this is going to happen. And it did. Um, so I think it was a little predictable, but it was still really good.
And I get that totally, especially with one group that we met with the two individuals, the isolated women. That was probably I really enjoyed that, even though we kind of knew where it was headed, not maybe fully, but we knew that they weren't probably going to be trustworthy. I still really enjoyed it, and that's the thing. There's a lot of times where I'm watching these shows where I kind of have an understanding or I know where things are kind of headed, but just the way they handle it, it's still entertaining and it still makes the little trip worthwhile.
I was
Diving into
happy to see
this,
that they didn't crash land.
and I was just about to dive into that because the first thing that I want to say, and I know I constantly complain about the 6 episode format. I don't know if we didn't see it due to the fact that the episodes are shorter, like the season shorter, but starting off the episode with the plane already, landing and already damaged and all that, I thought was a better choice because it's like realistically, if we see these two characters in the air, struggling, we know they're not going to die. It's going to be tense, of course, but at the end of the day, we know nothing terrible is going to happen to at least Carol. So it wasn't something I was too worried about. But having them just landed in an area where they're not familiar with, and then of course Carol going on a little walk and we see that little cliche of the walkers coming out of the ground and it was just I loved it
I
and
loved
I
it
thought it was
too.
really interesting, but people keep calling for the variants, but I'm satisfied with just seeing the OG walkers,
Oh
and
my
even though these were a
gosh.
little different, it was still really cool to see what
Right.
they're doing. They're nothing crazy yet, but it's still interesting to see them being creative with the different types of walkers.
Yeah. When she said she looked out the field and she saw all those walkers and she told Ash to sit tight and she would get it and fix the plane. I got this. I was just like, man, oh man, she has no idea about the variants. I was like, are these going to be variants? I was like, she probably shouldn't do this by herself.
Hmm.
But I mean, and then I mean, before she walked away, they panned into the plane and showed the flare gun. And I was like,
Yeah, that's
what's
gonna
gonna
be,
happen with
yeah.
the flare gun? That's gonna come
Yeah.
back at some point. Um, and then when she went toe to toe with these walkers, I was like, ooh, one down, oh, two down. I was like, okay, these aren't variants. And then she was trying to wind up for that third one, and ooh, boy, I'll tell you what, I actually got scared. I screamed when that arm came out of the ground and grabbed her. Actually shrieked. That I did not expect that at all. That was very well done on their behalf.
Hmm. No, yeah, I think that's one thing that they're. I really, you can tell the budget is just insane with this show, and just the scenery and everything. And I don't know, I feel like they're able to be a little more creative due to the the less restrictions they have. So that's one thing that I have found really exciting. But I do want to, of course, dive into what was going on with, of course, Laurent and Daryl and everything over there.
Yeah.
As we know, in the beginning of the last episode, we ended up saving some familiar faces, and I was like, "Hey, we got familiar faces. This is gonna be great. We got
Yeah.
more backup with us. How can this go wrong?" And starting off this episode, it ended up going, of course, terribly wrong. Laurent went missing. We were trying to figure out what the hell was going on there, so it's
Yeah.
I part of me thought he ran away, like after last season, like the kid was really aggravating me, with some of the choices, and I understand he's a kid, but as soon as I saw that he wasn't in the room, I was like, what the hell is he doing now? What is this kid doing, bro?
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
turned out, he was just, it wasn't his choice. But I what was your first thoughts when everything happened? Did you have an idea on who might have taken him? Did you? I mean, we know the guy was being a little sketchy, the guy that's kind of running the nest, but like,
Well, you know what? Honestly, I got weird vibes in the premiere. And when we opened up with Laurent telling us all of his hopes and dreams and wishes, I I was like, man, this is setting up something bad, isn't it? Setting up something real bad. So when they were looking for him in his room, as soon as he wasn't answering Isabel, I knew something was wrong because he wouldn't ignore her. Come on.
mhm,
And then when she had trouble opening the door, I was like, oh man, something went down. And obviously, as soon as she went in that room, I was like, oh my gosh, there's signs of a struggle. And then I said to myself, I think this was planted. That's exactly what I said. I was like, I think this was an inside job. I think they're planting this to make it look like they like someone came in and stole
mhm.
him, but I don't think that they did. That was one of the things that I predicted right away.
And it's like the nest is so isolated from everything else.
How
It's
would they
like it
know
would,
which room it was?
yeah, it'd have to have been an inside job. So it's like one of those things where it's like it's just a matter of who might have done it and
Yep.
who's working with this person, because
Yep.
obviously you wouldn't do something like this without having some type of backing. And we
Hmm.
kind of see that later on when we get Daryl and everyone isolated from the nest, and we see who might be involved. And the funny
Yeah.
thing is, I said to myself when we see the truck moving away, I said straight up, half of these people aren't coming back. But in my head, I didn't think half of these people were gonna be, like the people that are preventing us from coming back.
Right.
My mind was just like, okay, like this is The Walking Dead. If we see a bunch of randoms, no named, extras going with the main crew on a little mission, realistically, that's not going to end up well for any of us. But before we continue, baby,
Baby.
Hello, hello, hello.
baby, how
Hey
are you?
girl.
I'm okay.
Yeah,
Yesterday was a bust when I do my mini reviews. I did it like from Saturday night all the way till Sunday, 12 p.m.
sheesh.
Yeah. So I had a lot of sleep. But how are y'all?
Fantastic.
Great.
But the
Um,
episode, the episode, the episode.
yeah,
The
we were
episode
just
was
talking
amazing.
about Laurent. We got to the point where Laurent is missing, and
Mm-hmm.
we were wondering who the hell took him. And then
Hmm.
we start off with you know who might be responsible, and the fact that we saw them kind of leaving on their mission to figure out who took Laurent. And as soon as we saw like all these people go with them, we knew immediately like at least half of them weren't returning, but we didn't really
Mm-hmm.
know to what extent. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah. I think when they came back, um when they was all about to enter, it was like the last three guys that I saw that was behind Laurent, one what's his name, Amelie, Emily, Emil.
Amelia.
Yeah, and they,
Sophie's man.
you get Sylvia who's like hugged up on him, taken back to the nest, and everybody's walking. I'm like, these last three dudes with the guns, I'm not trusting.
Hmm.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so and so I'm like, something's going on.
And we get a couple hints on that too during that scene because he's talking to Sylvia. So is that her name, Sylvie?
Sylvie.
And
Yeah.
yeah, jeez. And he's saying like, "Oh, I made a deal with God," and he's feeling better and whatever. But on top of that, he's actually talking to the other guy that of course, he's friends with, and he was trying to prevent him from coming. Like he was like, "Yeah, do not tag along. You're hurt. Whatever. There's no reason for you to come." And he's like, "It's Laurent. I have to come." And he was trying to prevent it. In my head, it's like, "Oh, he's being a good friend. Doesn't want him to overwork himself."
Mm,
But of course,
Mm-hmm.
looking back at it, he really didn't want his friend to be involved with what was going on, because realistically, he knew his friend he wasn't going to be involved with that. He didn't want anything to do with that, so he knew that that was only going to end in one way.
yeah.
So when they were getting this mission together, I remember thinking to myself, as soon as is what's the main guy's name? Lasang?
Losang, yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
When Lasang said, Isabel, don't go, I was like, no one's gonna be here to protect Laurent if Laurent is actually still there.
Yes.
And or if Laurent comes back. And I was getting very upset. And then when I saw Sophie stay behind, I was like, ooh, I think my girl's about to shine. Something
Yeah,
is
because I
gonna go down.
yeah, because I thought she was with them. I didn't know that she stayed behind. And I was wondering the same thing. Like, who's gonna watch Laurent? Like, nobody's there. And we
Right.
hardly even know these people anyway. So when I saw her looking, with that maid, I know we may be getting ahead though, with that maid or what have it, the cook
Yeah,
had
yeah.
When she
done
was making
fixing.
his breakfast.
Yeah, it's
Because
like,
because we saw that earlier on when Laurent was eating. That was the exact thing. Like the little jar of milk,
mm-hmm,
And the
everything was
apple
placed
tart.
normally. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's like I think realistically she just knew, like, hey, like this is a little sketchy. Like let's check this out. And just seeing her follow, her immediately, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is gonna work out for her. And I'm loving Sylvie. Sylvie has been so cool.
oh yeah.
So I'm like, yo, like, oh, let's see how this, plays out. Let's, hope for the best. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad things kind of worked out. But I don't know. It was just this episode had me on edge because of that reason. Because I truly thought he was kidnapped. Then I was like, wait a second, like what is going on? He's still here. And then of course going off ground with Daryl and all them. Uh
Mm-hmm.
it got really intense, especially once, the weapons started being fired, everything started going crazy. One thing I have really enjoyed is the action so far. Like even in the first episode, with that scene
Mm,
when they almost took out Janae, which again was a crazy moment because it almost could have been just like that. Um,
yeah.
some of these action sequences have been insane. Just the amount of
Mm-hmm.
blood that we're getting is just pretty crazy too. Like, just I don't know. I think they're doing a really good job with the action in this
Oh
show.
yeah.
Not even just Walker related, just seeing people versus people has been really entertaining for me.
I
So
mean, you see like fist, like contact and face. You seeing legs. I'm like,
yeah,
that's
and
my kind of thing.
I think it's
And
only gonna
people
get better from this point on.
and people are gonna get sick of me because I am loving the visuals, the locations, everything is
Oh
so
my god, yeah.
Oh
beautiful.
yeah.
Mhm.
And the time and money that they put into making these sets and locations look abandoned and overgrown. It's just to the scale that they're doing it on is amazing.
And that's where I think I'm kind of like conflicted because it's like, again, it comes back to the 6 episode format. Gonna keep mentioning it, but it's like if they did like a longer season, they might not be able to have the money to make these episodes look as beautiful as they do. Like
Yeah.
the
That
sets,
makes sense.
everything. It's just it looks so beautiful. I mean,
Hmm.
the way some of the cars look run down and the way like just everything looks in the background. They've taken time with this, and I don't think they would have been able to do that if they, you know, ended up making the season longer than it is. So that's one thing that I am grateful for. Some of
I
the
was kind of
views and
surprised
scenery.
I was sorry to interrupt, but
Okay.
something just popped into my head when you said that about Greenland, the way that they make everything look so beautiful. I was really surprised when we heard they were in Greenland. And that's when we meet those people that essentially saved Carol
Mhm.
and Ash. Um, I was like, isn't Greenland north of United States, if I'm remembering my geography classes correctly? Like, how did they go north and not east? I was confused.
I don't
Yeah,
even know because I was on my whole geography lesson because I like it's like with Iceland and Greenland. I thought like it's the opposite with them too. I'm like, wait, hold up. I don't now I'm sounding dumb right now. I said I don't want to sound dumb thinking that Greenland is supposed to be from ice and Iceland is so
yeah, no, no,
green.
no. That's what I heard growing up. No,
I was like, am I wrong?
Iceland is closest to Europe, and Greenland's all by itself. It's just basically an island continent. It's only Greenland, and it's between the United States and Europe.
that's why I wasn't sure if I heard them correctly because I kind of like brushed that off because I remember them saying that, and then after they said it, I kind of shrugged it off because I'm like, ah, that can't be right, and then I just continued watching the episode like it like like it normally would. So I totally spaced out and forgot that that's what they said because of the fact that it didn't stick with me. It didn't like I was like, nah, whatever. It's okay.
Uh,
I know that they're not in the United States anymore. That's all that matters, and it's just trying to figure out everything after that. But yeah, I mean, I do want to talk about that group that we met. Those two interesting
yeah,
women. Of
Hannah
course,
and Ewan.
yeah. So we ended up meeting these characters. Of course, when characters seem very friendly, it's not rocket science to assume that they're not.
Uh,
We've watched TV long enough to know that they're most likely bullshitting us.
Yep.
But it's really it was really interesting to kind of watch it all kind of go down. And I'm not gonna jump the gun, but one of the things here kind of reminded me of what we got in one of the Walking Dead extra episodes with Robert Patrick.
mhm. Yeah.
Mm.
Kind of the whole redemption thing and him maybe trying to be better, and then of course that just not working out at the end of it. But we'll dive into that more. But what was your first thoughts when we were introduced to those two girls?
Go ahead, baby.
I don't trust them. Yeah, I don't trust them, and but I was right. I was well. The redhead one I was iffy about, but the dark hair one I forgot what's the redhead woman name?
Hannah,
Hannah. Okay, and then the other one. Okay,
How do you remember the names like that, bro? Like
because I just watched it.
uh, even
I
so,
knew
me,
one of
I'm
them
just
was
not
Hannah,
good.
but I couldn't pronounce the other one's name. What is
I think it
Ewan,
was Ewan.
Ewan? Well, I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go with
trust
that.
her on that. Yeah,
Yeah, Ewan. It's something
Hannah
about
said it like
Ewan.
3 or 4 times.
Yeah, yeah, because with
didn't stick.
Ewan, the dark hair one, there's something about her that I just don't even
It was
trust. It's
probably the
like the redhead
peppiness,
sound.
bro. Like, ain't nobody gonna be that happy 13 years into the apocalypse. Like, get out of here
Yeah,
like
I'll tell you what,
that.
I was judging a book by its cover. When I saw Hannah, I was like, this bitch is about to do something bad.
Well,
I
you could
thought
tell
that the
she was
brown,
like a chihuahua, bro. Like she
yeah.
looked nervous. Like she was just shaking and like you could tell that she was up to no good. And as we saw that conversation with Carol kind of progress, we were just like, okay, like in some of the decisions that Carol was making, I'm like, dude, I don't think I've ever been that stressed out. Like when she grabbed the crossbow, I'm like, Carol, what are we doing?
Yeah.
yeah.
I didn't get it, but yeah, I mean, of course, and then of course a giant red flag was them being isolated with each other. We have Ash going with Ewan, whatever, and Carol staying with Hannah. And
Yep.
of course all these things are crossing they're in my head, man. I mean, when we saw
Whenever
that they
they
would
split our people up, we know it's bad.
yeah. Yeah, and when we saw them cooking like stew or whatever, I'm like, God, what is that? What is in that pot? And they're like, oh, it's like reindeer or deer or something. Like, no, it's not. It can't. No, it's
Oh,
probably not. It was probably your last guest, your last house guest.
I
So
was like, I thought of Terminus, and then I was like, are these people cannibals too?
yeah.
I'm like, I don't know how they do things over there. So I was a little curious on, what they were doing. And it really had me on edge. I'm like, oh, what are we doing? And of course, it kind of ended up being a little worse. you know,
Yeah.
I mean, Carol might
Rudolph.
have gotten a stick, but Ash probably would have stayed alive. The entire thing there was a mess. Hearing Hannah explain it all was really. I was getting uncomfortable. I was like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" And then I don't know. What was your thought when they were having that conversation? Just Carol and I mean, just Carol and Hannah.
Mm, I was afraid. As soon as she asked, "Can't may I?" and she was like, "Yeah, as long as you're careful," I was like, "No, this isn't gonna end well." And I felt like when she kind of started having her open up, I could tell that she was going to start using tactics against her to try to open her up and get her emotional and sentimental to try to get her to back down. But I wasn't expecting for her to kind of tell the whole plan. And she, when she exposed what Ewan was doing with Ash, and I was like, oh, he's gonna make babies. They're gonna mate with him. That was crazy, crazy.
Mm-hmm.
What do you
Yeah,
think, baby?
yeah. It's just like you said, when she turned the crossbow towards Carol, I'm like, now see, it's like this is Carol that we talk about. I said, but y'all don't know. Y'all, that is okay. That is okay. Y'all don't know who Carol is. And when she did reveal the plan, and I'm like, oh my goodness, the other chick is with Ash. And we like Ash ain't gonna go through with it. And I'm like, man, if that other heifer was taking advantage of Ash, which I'm kind of questioning if she did or not,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be mad. It's like, but Hannah, it seems like she doesn't want to do it. She just want to get away. Like, can you help me? But even when she wants help, I'm like a big question mark with that, because usually when people want help, you get them where they at, then they kill you. Can I say kill? I don't know what, like, am I supposed to say kill or not? Because people like PC now.
I know, like on TikTok, you can't say, you have to say like unalive or some shit like that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't like saying that word either. But it's like I gotta say it on a live, a person just to get what they want. My gosh. But yeah, that was kind of creepy, the revelation of why.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want children. Almost like that cult mentality. And then I'm like, if y'all have children, well, okay, they're not related though, but it's like
But then the babies will be related.
Your head is about to
Both from
blow up.
Ash.
Your head is about to
then they're
blow up,
gonna
bro.
have somebody, and then if you have a boy, if you have like you want to populate, you have a boy, you have a girl, then you would not, and then y'all gonna have brothers and sisters. What's gonna happen with that? I mean, incest. I'm sorry, it's just like utopia. No, I just like nasty.
It's
So that's
icky
my
for
thought.
sure. And of course, it led to that really awkward conversation with Ash
Right?
and Ewan, and just hearing them kind of going back and forth, and just the way she was looking at him. Like, I know Mashonda isn't here, but I was
Like
looking
he
at
was
one
a
of
snack.
yeah, I was looking at Mashonda's
Oh yeah.
reaction and just seeing
Oh
her
yeah.
reaction to the way, like, she's like, look at the way he's looking, she's looking at him, and I'm just like, it was just so funny, dude. Like, and I think all of us kind of felt the same way with the way she was kind of observing and looking at him like he was just like a specimen instead of an actual human being. And I don't know, it was just a really, really weird situation. It was really, really weird. But and I think we all felt that through the screen as, like, the dialogue kind of progressed. The
Mm-hmm.
shit she was saying was just not, it was not normal. But I don't know. I think as soon as I found out what they were doing, I was just, immediately kind of at a loss of words, because they'll keep him alive, but they're not going to keep Carol alive. Like,
Right.
realistically, and then we go back to the conversation with Carol and Hannah, and
Mhm.
we see Hannah starting to kind of crack and realize this isn't what she kind of wants to do. So to see Ewan kind of come back in, and then for everything to go crazy to the point where Hannah ends up shooting her, that was a mess. I was like, what are we doing? Like, she's so unstable. She just wanted her to stop talking so she could think for a second. She wouldn't shut
Mhm.
up, so she took care of it. uh I don't know, man. How'd you feel about her killing Ewan?
You know what? I didn't expect it until like the last couple of seconds when she started to kind of internally freak out. And then I was like, I feel like Carol's home free here. She's going to shoot that girl because
Mm-hmm.
they were literally just talking about her being scared and not wanting to kill her. So um, I think that in order for her to break free of that control over that you and or had over Hannah, it had to be done. It had to be done.
Yeah,
And I'm
and
glad it did.
yeah, so
Yeah, I was.
it does make sense that, it did go down that way, but leading back up to when Carol was taking her to see Ash, the entire time I'm like, Carol has to be smart enough to understand that this woman isn't stable. And it was sad because immediately Hannah was like, "You said you would take me, right? Would you still take me?" Carol's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, sure." And as they're walking to see Ash, like my immediate thought is like, we're gonna have another look at the flowers scene.
And
Like
that's me
she's
Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, she's gonna have her keep walking. She's like, "Yeah, yeah, you can join the group," like,
too.
and
Me
I'm like,
too.
"What
Me
are we doing?"
too.
So I was
I
really nervous.
I
Yeah.
really did think that it was going to be like that, but about halfway between where they were when I got that thought and them like that fog clearing and we seeing Ash with the plane, I actually got a sense of like maybe Carol is actually going to help this woman and she's going to let her go with them.
Yeah.
And you could see in her reaction when we found out what that flare gun was going to be for, because she was, I feel like there in that split second, she was actually kind of heartbroken for Hannah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And the way she kind of the way Melissa McBride acted in that scene, I think was amazing. Because on
mhm.
top of like actually showing remorse and regret that had to happen, the way she kind of like consoled Ash, because Ash
Yep.
was over here kind of convincing himself, "Oh, I had to do that. You saw what they were gonna do. Like this had
Yeah.
to happen."
And you
And
could
she
tell that
was
was his first kill.
yeah, and she
Yeah.
was comforting him. She
Yeah.
was like, "Yeah, like no, 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 you had to. They were
And
both crazy. And I'm just like, wow, like this is really interesting."
and
Hmm.
remember too, like this is, way back, I think what was it? I would say chapter season 6, I think, when Carol was like so like about killing, like how many people that she had killed already. And when she had to isolate herself, like, because it was getting too much for her until she decided, like, what, we need to save Alexandria, all that kind of stuff. And like the way how she comforted him is kind of like there are times where you do have to kill. And sometimes
Yeah.
it will bother you to an extent, but that's the way life is. Not everybody's nice. Not everybody's cut it clean. You just got to read between the lines, and and she's been doing that. And to see her having remorse for Hannah is kind of like me seeing season 6 Carol, like, I don't want to kill no more. It's like that part is still in her, but it's like, this is what I had to do, I
Mhm.
Yeah.
but
Nah,
yeah.
yeah. No, I
I
get
think when
that. I
she
mean,
said what she said about you just don't mess with someone's mother, I think that kind of was her turning point with Hannah. And she was like, maybe this chick isn't that all that bad.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, even that's entire little story alone felt like it was an entire worth an entire episode.
Hmm.
But there was still so much that happened in this episode. I mean, of course, we talked a little bit about the whole Daryl and Laurent situation, but we didn't talk about Carol kind of actually. I'm trying to. What else happened in this episode? Just wanted to clarify.
So we went back after this
Yeah.
whole thing with Ash. We went back to Daryl and they were doing
Okay.
their mission in that factory. Now the episode is called Moulin Rouge, and I'm not quite sure where that came into play. I'm usually pretty good at picking out the title of the episodes within the episode. I think it might have
Mm-hmm.
been painted on the side of this building, but anyways, so this building that they were going in to try to find Laurent and rescue him essentially, um, as soon as they kind of went in that place, um, I don't know, it just all felt so predictable to me, and I kind of hated it at the same time as I also loved it,
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
because it kind of prepared me a little bit more for what was going to happen, because I was like, okay, I feel like this is probably an ambush situation because we don't see anyone in this
Oh
building.
boy. Nah, yeah, no,
And
for sure.
there was nobody in there. And if they would have taken Laurent, you'd have think there'd have been more people there. And
Yeah.
so when they get up those stairs, I'm just like, yep, this is an ambush of some sort. And then all of a sudden, when they turn on Falou and they turn the camera and see Emil coming out, I'm like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
is he a double crosser? I did
Hmm.
not expect that.
I
Yeah.
mean, the dude was so broken in the first episode when we
Yeah.
kind of saw him. I don't know what the hell really happened. I don't know if I missed something, but clearly, like, shit went down with that dude, and I
He
and I
never
truly feel
said.
bad. But
It
like,
must have
yeah,
been
because the
that.
dude was traumatized, so
Yeah.
it's like seeing where it led out, and just again, I think he had that piece of dialogue where he said like, again, like I made a deal with God, he was gonna he was gonna take care of these people, and then
Mhm.
whatever was gonna happen with Laurent happens with Laurent, and it again, just that entire sequence where we see everyone kind of like turn. It felt gave me like Order 66 vibes, just like they're really trying to wipe out the last people that kind of give a damn about Laurent. Actually, like these people look at Laurent like a god because they
Yeah.
see him as being like something for their future, something that can help with them, and not really giving a damn about his well being. Where we have like Daryl who actually cares, and to see everyone kind of turn on him was just an extreme like crazy moment. But I really did like that little entire action sequence, even if it
Oh
did
yeah.
lead to what happened to Emil.
Yeah, it was
um
a great action
but
sequence.
I the interactions between Emil and his friend were just extremely brutal. Just seeing him,
Hmm.
like they were talking to each other, and he's like, "Oh, I have to do this," and he's like, "What are you doing?" Like he looked heartbroken seeing Emil pointing the gun. It was just, I don't know. I felt a lot of emotion, even though we haven't really been with these characters for a long time. It was
Mhm.
just like, dude, like this is tough because we know that they've been through so much shit together. So to know
Hmm.
that it's ending with betrayal is always extremely, extremely sad.
It was very high
Yeah.
emotions when I saw him point that gun at Falou. I was like,
Fully.
Yeah.
this is basically like a dad figure to you, and you've got your gun pointed at him. What is
Hmm.
wrong with you?"
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just I don't know what he was thinking. If he thought he was gonna have a future or whatever. I don't know what he was going for, but
I think we'll
just
find out.
yeah, it's just brutal. Um, but I don't know. I mean, going back to kind of the whole situation with Daryl, and of course God, the like the names are like kicking my ass, but
Issa?
uh the leader of
Isabel?
the nest, you know
Oh,
Oh,
Lil Sang.
well,
yeah, there's
Wilson.
always been some like passive aggression there, so I'm
Mhm.
really excited for like a face to face if we do get one, because
Hmm.
Daryl's smart enough to figure out what's kind of going on, but
But come to, yeah, and what's her name? Jacinta, whatever her name, Jacinta, whatever. One who is like right hand man or
oh,
what have you
yeah,
to
the right hand woman, yeah.
Yeah, like like he didn't even know it was going to be that bad, and he's like, "What
No.
did you do?" And so my whole thing was with
He
Loke
was like, "Why
song.
is Daryl not coming back?"
Yeah,
Hmm.
and why Isabel not like, and because of all the plan, nobody's part of this plan, this utopia of seeing Laurent, the ceremony of him getting bit, and then surviving that bite and all this and that and the third. And then he said, "This is what we become." I'm like, dude, what are you gonna do with her? So what are you gonna do with her? Are you gonna go
Right.
through with the ceremony for real? Because I honestly thought that little song has some connection with Janae, because it was iffy about him a bit, but this is taken to a whole nother level of, because he's a miracle kid, that's he survived with his mama who been bitten, not him. It's just like he
Hmm.
hadn't been bitten yet. He ain't Ellie at
Hmm.
I
all.
was gonna
So
mention that,
yeah, he ain't
yeah.
Ellie from The Last of Us at all. And I know y'all have not seen this show.
But Ellie, that's yeah, I played the game and watched the show, but that's
Yeah,
literally
but
like the
what
same
the
situation.
Yeah, and because with this show, the different show I'm going to talk about just for a little bit, that I did my TV chat on Instagram called the Serpent Queen. There is this character who survived this poisoning, and this
Oh,
other
Samantha
character,
Morton.
yeah, and this other character, Charles thought that she is like a second coming. She survived the poisoning, but it was fake. All that poison was fake. And then when she was, and he was like, "You supposed to survive." I'm like, okay, so y'all gonna do that with Laurent? He gonna bite. You gonna bite him. He gonna die. That's it. He ain't immune. So and then
Right.
Yeah,
so
I
it's just
mean, it would
crazy.
be interesting to see, but I don't want it to happen.
no, for
Hey, let's
sure.
bite a little kid. So I was just
I mean, if
it's
it
just
was an
so great.
organic kind of thing, like if he was out there trying to fight them or something and it
Mhm.
happened,
Yeah.
and then we found out that way, okay. But the fact that this woman actually really wants to just, let's do it, let's get him bit as soon as possible.
Yes. Like, girl, why don't you get bit? Like,
Right.
Yeah,
so
She's
it's
so I
nobody
just,
mean,
special.
I also want to talk about Daryl and Isabel. One thing,
I'm
yeah,
sorry. I'm
I was
sorry.
not expecting that, but I'm not mad. I was thinking about Connie, but I'm not mad.
I know it's just like that's his first, I think, on-screen kiss, and it's like we've had 13 seasons of like a bunch of possibilities from our
And
boy
it was a
Daryl,
good kiss
and
too.
and I'm just like, what are we doing with this dude? Like, I honestly, and me and you talked about this in the last episode too. You were like,
Mhm.
I'm not sure how I feel about Isabel and Daryl, and
That's why you were
immediately,
smirking.
yeah, yeah, because immediately I'm like, you're gonna love next episode. But I'm just my whole thought process was just like, like I was a huge fan of Daryl and Connie. Like, you don't
Yeah.
learn another language, for someone unless you care
Well,
deeply for them on
Yes,
another level. You know what I'm
exactly.
saying? And they really botched that. I thought I was really upset with how that kind of ended. One of my favorite relationships in the Walking Dead franchise is, of course, Daryl and Carol. I don't want that going anywhere. I want it to stay the way it is forever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, besties forever.
Yeah.
well, I'm in a minority, very, very minority, deep down minority, who don't see a connection with Daryl and Connie at all.
Really?
I always find Daryl from binge watching The Walking Dead with Daryl's story as an ace type of dude. Like he's asexual. Like if he has any relationship with a woman, it's because he wants that. Like he never had that mother figure. So you can
I think we're losing baby.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but I kind of get what she's saying because the
Yeah.
interactions with what we've had with Daryl. I mean, he's like kind of shown very little interest. His only interest is surviving and eating. You know what I'm saying? Like just
Hmm.
doing what he needs to do to make sure he's living. Um,
But I also think that it
what's
might also be a trauma
hello, hello?
response because he continues to, in the past, he's made it known that he thinks everybody just leaves him, you
Yeah.
know, and that he, when he gets close to somebody, then he loses them, and he doesn't want
Yeah.
that to happen. So I feel like he kind of holds himself back too. I feel like
Mhm.
he's a man who does love and can love, but he's too afraid to cross that boundary, for that he's kind of set for himself. So I don't think he's necessarily ace, but I mean, it would explain a lot if he was. Um, but yeah, I mean, and when I saw them kiss each other, the first thing that ran through my head, besides Connie, I mean, I didn't like dwell on it. I was just like, I thought Connie was his girl. But then I was just like, I think that this kiss is more of a time and circumstance kind of thing. Like, I mean, if he was still in Commonwealth, I'm sure that he might have kissed Connie at some point, but we're not there. He's in France, and this is what's happening now.
Yeah, and it's just one of those things that it's like we're gonna have to wait and see where
Yeah.
that does go. But I mean, I just think that after all the time we've seen him with other characters, we've seen him with Isabel for maybe 5 or 6 episodes,
Mm-hmm.
realistically. So
Mm-hmm.
after 5 or 6 episodes, and I know it feels a lot longer for that connection to kind of build and for us to feel that chemistry that we feel between them two, I think is it's great work on their part. And that's why I've been really excited to see what they do with that relationship because they're at the point where they both care for Laurent equally, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like they're the kind of parental figures that Laurent never really had, and they're looking out for his best interest and not for the interest of the nest
Themselves.
or for what people believe about Laurent. They're looking at
Yeah.
Laurent as a child, as a kid, not as the second friggin' coming. So it's really interesting to see the way people are kind of like looking or just treating him because
Mm-hmm.
of course he knows and he can feel the way people treat him differently, and I think they mentioned that before, like he kind of likes it at times, but at the same time so it's interesting to see how it all kind of you know
And it
is.
reminds me of
Yeah.
earlier in the episode when Daryl gave her that offer, you and me and Laurent just go back to, America together. And I loved that proposition. I was like, yes, please, let's go. Let's
Mhm.
go right now. And the fact that all of this transpired and then it took this happening for Isabel to finally be like, if the offer is still on the table, we are going to take it. And I'm like, it's too late at this point. Like this is
Mhm.
already happening, and you may or may not get to Laurent before he's been bitten. And who knows what's going to happen when he does? if he gets
Mm-hmm.
bit. So I was very upset that it even got that far, because if I was Isabel, I'm telling you what, if I ever met Daryl, yes, I would be trying to make out with him. Yes, totally, 100%.
I can't say I'm on the
But
same boat.
if he offered to take me away from that place when I knew that when someone was coming after my nephew, hell yeah, let's get out of here, because
Mhm.
they can only protect us so much in here.
Yeah. Um,
And he made a really good point when he said maybe that's exactly what all this was just to keep you going.
some of the dialogue in this show, man, is just really well written,
Hmm.
and I truly do admire it. But yeah, I am loving the kind of caretaking role. I mean, we've seen that in the past with Daryl, the way he kind of looks out for the younger kids specifically, because like he just has this weird connection of defending people who can't defend themselves, and that's
Because of his childhood trauma.
exactly,
He
and
wants
that's
them
the
to
big
have a
thing.
better
I
life than
think
he did.
I think that's a big reason why he gravitated towards Carol, because in the
Hmm.
beginning she was at a point where she was having trouble defending herself. She was just so lost, with everything with Sophia, and I think that's where he kind of like knew kind of what she needed. But
Yep.
at the same time, he was still at a point in that development where he didn't know how to give, a person that type of sympathy, that type of care. And we did see that with moments where he kind of he would get short with her, his temper would kind of come off. But as the years have progressed, we've really seen him kind of do a lot better with understanding people's circumstances, with the way he talks to certain kids, he knows what they've
Hmm.
been through,
Yep.
and just hey, she's back. But just everything in general. Like we've seen Daryl develop into the dude he is, like just it's been really, really cool to see. And that's why I really enjoy how he is with Laurent, because it's like he has just again developed into such a great caretaker, and it's
Exactly.
been really, really interesting to see how he's handled kind of taking up that kind of parental role, if you will.
Hmm. Hmm. I agree completely. Hey, baby.
I'm not
Do we
trusting
have
this at
you?
all. I mean, I hear you. I mean, can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
I mean, okay, that's all.
We were just talking about the
Wait,
offer
y'all want
that
me to say
Daryl
something?
gave
Because I can
Issa
say.
about going back to America. What did you think about that?
Mm-mm, mm-mm. I
You
think
don't want her to go to
that
America?
something's gonna happen. No, I
Oh,
want her. No, I want her to go to America.
yeah.
Yeah, I do. But something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen
Because
to
it always
her.
does. This is The Walking Dead,
And,
right?
and it's gonna end up
Baby.
gonna end up being with going to America with. Look, it ain't me.
It's okay, it happens. It's all right.
It's not your fault.
No, because it's rain and sometimes will knock out the signal. So I'm scared. So, with Helene and everything else, I can't, be
We'll let you
careful.
know if we
So,
see a walker
but
coming
yeah,
behind you.
Yeah.
You'll see us waving frantically if we see a walker coming through a
man,
window.
you don't have to be worried about that. I'm scared. I'd be like, Mama, kill that one. And she's 7 years old, but she looked like she's 56. So I said, go ahead and kill that.
I mean, growing up,
Oh,
people
shoot.
always said make sure you turn off your computer when it's raining outside, so I get it. You might be frozen, but you're still beautiful.
Yeah. It came out of
But
nowhere. I was
yeah,
like,
I
another
mean,
Helene?
so where were we? I totally forgot what we were talking about.
So we're transitioning, I think, now from the Daryl and Isabel situation, and we're back with Carol and Ash
Okay.
getting back in the plane.
So yeah, of course after that traumatic situation for poor Ash, it leading to them getting back into the plane, them finding a new spot to land, and then Carol of course going on her own. Um I still can't back her up on the whole situation where, she's like, "Oh, I'm here to find my daughter." I just that's just not gonna end well. I am so conditioned with this show where I feel as though Ash is still not making it out. We are so deep into the show, and the fact that he's made it 2 episodes is impressive to me. You know what I'm
And she was
saying?
trying
Like,
to ditch him right away.
yeah. So it's like
Stay here for 2 weeks.
the thing that is scaring me is if he does find out, about the truth. Like, how is that gonna happen? How is that gonna affect everything? And that plane, is it only a 2-seater?
I think so.
Like, what are we doing? like I don't know. There's a lot of questions I have. Ash has been such a sweet soul, so I don't want him to go. But of course, Carol ended up going her own way with
That's
that,
my husband
and it ended up
right there.
leading, and it ended up leading
And she
to
got
her
an
finding.
apple right off the bat. I was
Yep.
like, what's Ash gonna eat?
Yeah, and it
Hey,
ended up
get an
finding.
apple.
She ended up finding that military truck, which had all that crap in it. So I don't know. What did you guys think that her finding that truck or getting closer to Daryl? Do you think that's happening too easy, or do you think it's happening the right pace?
Uh, I kind of, in my commentary while I was watching it, I kind of was like, watch her just run into Daryl's group as they're coming out of that building trying to find Laurent. That's what I was thinking was going to happen. We
Oh no!
didn't
Oh
quite
no!
get that, but we got something similar. She still ran in to someone that's going to cross paths with Daryl. But yeah, I kind of suspected that something was going to happen quickly. But not that.
Mhm. I think the one thing that I was kind of stuck on is making sure that we weren't, you know, I know we're like I said, I know we're getting a season 3. So
Mhm.
whether it takes a majority of the seasons for them to get that reunion, it would just be cool to go and kind of go back to the season and kind of see that journey of them finding each other. Or compared to like if she found him in the first episode, it just would have been one of those things where it's like, oh well, that's convenient. And
Mhm.
so I am liking the fact that they're kind of taking their time with it. I'm hoping it lasts a little longer, but I'm happy with that so far, because The Walking Dead, if they're able to do one thing, reunions are one thing that they're able to do brilliantly. And we've seen
Agreed.
that in the past, whether it's
Mm.
episode 3 of season 1, which that still almost brings tears to my eyes because you're seeing Carl getting reunited with Rick, or even the reunion with after the lineup where we see Rick and Daryl kind of get that reunion. Because anytime Daryl gets a reunion with these characters, whether it's Carol after Terminus, just the way he kind of like, seeing characters that are so like, tough kind of break that exterior and kind of crack. It's always so emotional. Just so every time we saw that, whether it was with Daryl and Rick, with him kind of like just burying his face into Rick's shoulder, because after everything that happened, it's like The Walking Dead always delivers on these reunions. So it's like I don't care if we have
Reunions
to
are
wait a whole.
great.
I don't care if we have to wait a whole season. Like, this is gonna be something to be so friggin' emotional over, and I think that it's gonna be really, really interesting to watch. And that's one thing that I can't wait to have a discussion about when we get around to that. That's gonna be really, really interesting. But are you guys again, how about you, baby? Are you happy with the pacing so far?
Can y'all hear me? I'm
Sure,
sorry.
yeah, we
I'm
can hear
sorry.
you. Oh, you're not gonna
I can hear
apologize.
you.
Okay. Okay. Dad, I didn't know there was going to be a season 3, but good thing
I hope that wasn't like a
uh
spoiler.
I just
I think we knew that before season 2 came out, right?
Yeah.
no. Well, I'm too busy watching so many shows that I can't even keep up.
I get it.
So, with The Walking Dead, then with the Serpent Queen and all this, and the vampire, it's just like,
Oh, tell
what's
me
going
about it.
on? And, getting season 3 of Interview with the Vampire. And they say season
I
3
just
was
remember
Daryl
hearing
Dixon.
something during
I
the
know, they
strike. I
say
think they
season
said they were
3
going to film them
Daryl Dixon.
together.
I totally missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Well, but the pacing, I hope they're gonna meet. Daryl and Carol gonna meet though, but I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I want them to meet. That's all I'm worried about. I'm gonna give it till like episode 4 or 5. Now, what they gonna do with that, I don't know. Season 3, what they gonna do in season 3?
What do you think,
So,
Mombi? Do you
I
think we're
mean,
gonna get that
season because I
reunion?
think with Daryl Dixon,
Oh, she's. Do you think we're
Sorry,
gonna get
my
that?
dog is acting up. What was your
Do
question?
you think we're gonna get that reunion in? What episode do you think we're gonna get that reunion in this season?
Well, I thought we were going to get it in the first episode. I was
Glad we
hoping it was
didn't.
going to be set up like The Ones Who Live when we got the reunion at the end of the episode and then we watched everything leading up in the remaining episodes. But since that didn't happen, I don't know what to expect when it comes to the reunion, to be quite honest. But with the
yeah,
pacing, I feel like it'll be pretty soon. Maybe next episode. Uh, do we know for sure how many episodes there's going to be? Because I thought
Yeah,
when I
so we're
Googled it,
getting
it said
6.
13.
No, so originally I thought it
yeah.
was gonna be 8, but it's confirmed to only be 6.
Really?
Unfortunately.
Okay. Okay. Well,
See, that's what I'm saying.
right. So, okay, if there's going to be 6 episodes and we're pacing it the way that we are already, I mean, we got to France. She's already in Janae's group.
Mhm.
Now, oh, that was one thing that we hadn't spoken about too, that I just want to add really quickly while I'm talking about this is the separate trucks that those people went in. I want to say that she's in the truck of people that are going to be on Janae's good side and not in the truck of like test people.
Mhm.
But it could go the other way. I mean, The Walking Dead likes to throw
Mhm.
wrenches at us, you know what I mean? But I think with the pacing of how things are going now, it could be the next episode because if he's already in that mixture and she's torturing old dude, maybe she'll get the information she needs and then she'll hear from her right hand woman about Carol and be like, well, I'm going to take her out in the field and we're going to see
Yeah.
what she does. And then boom, they're going to see each other right then and there.
And then cut, and then to the next
Right.
episode is gonna be Carol and Daryl. What had like how they usually do. I can
Yep.
see that.
But yeah, I mean, I know we wanted to try to keep it under an hour, not go any crazier. I feel like we've covered a lot. Is there a rating that you guys
When
want
do
to give
you
this
think they're
episode?
going to meet each other? When do you think the reunion's going to happen, Busy?
I think it's gonna happen in this season.
I know
I
you can't answer.
but
So wait. Okay. So let's back up. We know that you're able to see what is that term that you are? You get to see episodes early, right?
a critic maybe is that the right term?
Okay, a critic. So so um basically before you got to see the episodes, when did you think that they were going to reunite? What was your gut instinct going into the show?
So the thing is, like, I didn't really like overthink like when it might happen. Part of me thought they were gonna go a very simple, route, kind of like ratings route, and go dive into it the first episode.
Yeah.
And then part of me was just saying, like, I really hope we don't have to wait until like after like say half the season's gone by, because it's like the main reason I was excited for the season finale of last season was Carol appearing and getting the reunion. I'm like, when is this gonna happen? So knowing that we were having isolated stories for a majority of the season, maybe for them to only reunite for maybe an episode or two was kind of
Right.
not something I was looking forward to. But knowing we're getting a whole season kind of changed my outlook on it. So I didn't really have a set idea. I thought, sometimes The Walking Dead, they surprise me. So I know that they do what they can to make a good story, and they're not going to always just go out there and try to go boost their ratings in the sense where they're going to have all the good stuff happen in the first episode, So like, I didn't really have a set idea, but
Mm.
yeah, I'm glad they didn't do it in the first episode. That's kind of where I stand. Like, as cool as it would have been, and I would have loved it, I think doing a rewatch of this show, it's going to be really, really, it's going to make that reunion feel a lot sweeter, knowing that it wasn't forced, knowing that it wasn't just thrown at us. Like you said, if she found that truck and she saw the building and just saw Daryl come out of that building literally after she's been in France for all of an hour, it, as much as the reunion would have been so great to watch, it doesn't feel sweet. We got 3 episodes of Rick in Atlanta, in like a city, to the point where he almost gave up. And
Mhm.
after he
Mhm.
gave up, just the chances that they were reunited. It's one of those things where it's all about the journey and it feeling like we've earned
Yeah.
the happiness that we received from watching that scene. Like I want
Mhm.
to feel like I earned the emotion that I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want it to be one of those things where I'm just happy because we get to see these two characters again, without any type of actual reward or feeling behind it. But
Mhm.
so that's all I cared about, it feeling like a journey to get to where we needed to go. And I think that's what they're doing right now. Just having these 2 episodes, we haven't had a reunion yet. I'm satisfied. I feel like we've had quite the journey so far. So it's going to be really interesting to see when and how they do it.
Now you said that I'm pretty good at remembering names, but the one name I can never remember is the guy that Janae was torturing. So, what did you guys think when we saw that that's who she was torturing?
So
I couldn't even recognize him.
I too, every time I did my review for the episodes, I had to like look up his name, and I think I have it here somewhere. It's Stefan Credon or something.
Credon,
Credon,
yes, that's what
Stefan.
she was calling him. Yep.
Credron, yeah, Credron.
Credon. Okay.
Stefan Credon.
I'm
So
calling Stefan.
when he pulled up, we saw him at the end of the thing, I felt like we were watching some type of post-credit scene in a Marvel movie. I'm just like, how is this dude here? Like, what are we doing? And I thought it was so cool. Like, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be interesting because the way
Yeah.
that it ended with the lot. And again, I like, the more I think about it, the more I feel blessed for being able to experience the finale at Comic-Con with over hundreds of fans there, because the energy when he had the upper hand but let them go. It was just
It
hearing
was the
everyone
finale that
cheer.
you got to see there?
Yeah, yeah. Seeing Carol, I actually have a recording of I just never posted it yet. It was I have like the
Yeah.
theater reaction of because you can't see my face. So I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna edit this, but
Yeah.
yeah, it was like just hearing people cheering for this character that we didn't like, this entire season. So seeing him pop up after what he did for us. I mean,
Yeah.
I got so excited. I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, what is going on? And I'm truly excited to see more of his character, if we do get more of his character. So it's gonna be cool.
I just can't believe that she's torturing him with the watch with the nest on it.
I
Like, I thought that
know,
would have been the biggest clue. Like,
I know. I
Yeah.
saw it over there. I'm like, close it.
right?
But
What'd you think,
yeah,
baby?
Oh, I, I'm just like seeing him being beaten up like that. I'm like, my gosh, and that lets me further know how dangerous Jeanette can be. And
Mhm.
she, I don't know what it is with women who be in villains. I mean, it just does something to me. It's Alpha, then it's Janae. I mean, they just take it to a whole nother level than the male villains that we have seen in The Walking Dead. I mean, it's just like, yeah, men can be crazy and they can do some torturous things, my goodness, but it seems like women, like in the show, just like, with Alpha is kind of like a manipulation, but I can
Ruthless.
chop your head off. And Jeanette's kind of like, you know what, your watch is pretty neat. Clink, 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 let me have this watch, or put it in the eye. I'm like, I know I can be somewhat kind of have a violent mind a little bit, but daggone, y'all just take it to a whole nother level, and to a point where he's so unrecognizable. And I
yeah,
keep forgetting, what was he captured because she knew that he helped them, Daryl and
Yeah.
Sylvie and them. Okay,
She suspected it
yeah.
mhm.
since all of the people he
So
was
I just want
with
him to come.
were killed and he got away.
But
Ugh,
yeah, I mean,
I want
I
him to
think
come through though.
no, yeah, it's definitely gonna be interesting to see how that, because I mean, it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So it's
I
gonna
love that he's keeping their
Mm-hmm.
secret, but
yeah,
I was questioning myself, like, why is he letting her torture him like this? uh, because this is a secret that I don't think is worth him keeping. But essentially, when you think about what he said to Daryl, he wants to get Daryl himself because of what he did to his brother. And I don't understand why. This is one thing I hate about a lot of TV shows, is that people don't use their words enough when they need to. He
yeah.
should have come out and said, I didn't kill your brother. That was the girl and the old man. Like, I had nothing to do with that. But he never did. And
Yeah,
that
we get a lot
drives
of that.
me
Yeah,
crazy.
Mm-mm.
yeah, and I get that for sure. Um, But I also think if he told Janae straight up, like, hey, like, the people there aren't my friends, like, there's somebody there I want to kill, I don't think that would work out in his favor either. You know what I'm saying? I think Janae's kind of sick, so
Yeah.
she would agree to it, but I don't know. I don't want to say too much,
Oh, and
but
he
it's
did
just,
have a soft spot for Laurent after he told him about
yeah.
keeping the faith. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's a lot of reasons he's trying to keep his the secret, but it's interesting. But for now, is there anything else we want to say before we wrap things up?
Well, we saw them back on
No, that's
I mean,
it.
I was just happy to see that now we're finally on route to getting them back together. I'm
Mhm.
ready for the reunion. I don't obviously I don't want that to like be the end of the series because I know that it wouldn't be. I wouldn't be mad if
Yeah.
they crossed paths, kicked some ass, went back home, and we got a couple of episodes at home. Like I don't. I would love that, but that might be unrealistic. But that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah. How about you, baby? Anything you want to say before we close out?
Uh, it'd be so funny if they decided like because Alex, you said something. I'm like, if they do season 3 in Alexandria, like the Commonwealth or whatnot, trying to get Laurent and Daryl, or maybe if Isabel and Sylvie would be alive and what have you, and just to get right back, like, okay, so this time it takes place in France, but let's do one more hoorah at the Commonwealth, Alexandria, and trying to get what Daryl and what have you. Then you get like Ezekiel and maybe Michelle, Rick. It's like I maybe to me, I just want his reunion with Carol to come. Okay, but I really want to see that reunion with him and Rick.
Yeah,
Honestly. And I think this
I
is a
want to
book of
know who
Carol.
she
Okay,
said
this is
came
about Carol.
back.
This is about Carol.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like she had to say Rick. She had to say Rick, but this episode, man, there's a whole lot of things going on with this episode. But to me, it was good. I mean, it wasn't all that though, but yeah, it was good. The kissing scene still got me like laughing and everything else, but I understand why people got angry. I understand like if you so hardcore on a couple and whatnot, and that didn't happen at all, yeah, I'd be mad too. But I'm not, and because Isabel had a hard on for Daryl since season 1. I don't not now with Daryl, I don't know. He's kind of like,
See, I
but
didn't see
I
it
thought
like
that is,
that.
but no, but here's my thing before that, what you call cut me off. Uh, Isabel with Daryl, I kind of sensed it because you know how she was like, before the apocalypse had happened. I'm like, she kind of liking Daryl just a bit too much, but I don't know. But to see them both kissing, I'm like, Daryl, like what? It's like now we need to talk about something because Carla fans are upset, Donnie fans upset. I'm upset because I want you to be single so bad. It's like, what's going on? So I don't think nothing's gonna come of it. So I don't think anything's gonna come of it though.
Like a time and
But
circumstance kind of
I
thing.
mean, it is what it is. I still, yeah. When they kiss, I still like saying, I don't get it. I don't get it. Okay, so it is what it is. I mean, make it make sense though.
What do you
I
want to
can
say,
see like
Busy?
Isabel, like,
No, so I mean, I don't think I got much to say. I mean, yeah. So from now on, we do the live streams at 8. So they used to be on at 9 on Kyle's channel on Phantom Spotlight, but they will be at 8 because
We
I
got a
can't.
bedtime.
Yeah, I gotta be up early in the morning. So I wanna keep these alive, but that's what I'm saying. If the more people we have, the longer the streams will go. But Miss Kayla, where were
well,
you?
hey y'all.
Hey, love.
Hope all is well. But
Hey.
yeah, we were just getting ready to finish off the stream. Did want to say, like, of course, I
Yeah,
thought it was a
8.
cool episode. Yep, wanted to say I thought it was a cool episode. Uh, said, did you watch the episode Insider about the kiss? I did not. I did not.
I haven't watched
No,
it yet.
Yes, I
I
understand.
watched it and then I got ready for this stream, so I haven't been able to watch the Insider yet.
So yeah, maybe
oh, I need to
that'd be something we
watch
could
it
talk
then because they
about for
didn't explain.
the next stream for sure. Maybe we can check that out. But yeah, for now we got episode 3 around the corner. Um, really excited for that. So I think it's going to be interesting to talk about. But yeah, I think we've all said our piece, and again, we hope to have a bigger panel if we can in the next coming episodes. We understand stuff is crazy, and it's been so long since our last reviews and stuff. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And since we're on a whole different channel, it's gonna take some time to pick up the pace. So I do appreciate everyone that is here, and taking their time to kind of build up again. So it's gonna be really cool to see how everything is. So again, a big thank you to everyone. And again, do you guys have anything else? Do you guys want to promote your stuff? What do you guys want to do?
Go ahead, baby.
Y'all can subscribe to me on my channel, Baby Rose 86, where I do mini reviews on shows that really truly interest me. I'm already done From and what is it? The Walking Daryl Dixon. Yes, so just subscribe to me on Baby Rose 86, and I did change my username on Instagram, Baby Rose 86. So follow me on Instagram, subscribe to me on my YouTube channel.
All right. And how about
So
you,
yes, I'm
Alex?
back.
I do reactions on my YouTube channel by the same name, TWD Mombi. And I also have an Instagram where I put little reels and tidbits and take polls and things from all of my followers to see what they would like to see next. And just go ahead and give me a follow out there, and I'm happy to have you.
But yeah, I mean, same of course over here. Everything. This is my channel where I'm posting a lot of content, so a lot of reactions over here, some reviews, and I'm a lot of me, of course. We're at 100, almost 100K on TikTok. So go check me out
Woo!
over there, and we're all
That's
over the
good.
place. So search me up, BIZZYBRON, and again, thank you guys for watching. We will be here next week. That's the goal. So I guess until then, thank you for watching, guys. Peace out.